Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Matt. I'm the event coordinator here at Cambridge Professional and Continuing Education, otherwise known as PACE. Today, I'm joined by my colleague Callie from our enrolment team and three of our marvelous students. We've got Jocelyn Cash, Hannah Britchford, and Emma Collier joining us. This session is going to be focused on them and their experience of studying with us. This is the final session of our undergraduate drop-in sessions that we're hoping that we're hosting this week. Hopefully, you've joined our two previous sessions. We've covered the wide range of courses that are available to you, and yesterday we went into detail about the application process. All of these sessions are being recorded, and they'll be available to view on our YouTube channel by the end of the week. Whenever you registered, you had the option to pose your questions in advance. We're going to cover as many of those as we can. You can also leave us live questions using the Q&A function that's at the bottom of your screen. I can't guarantee we'll get to everything, but we'll cover as many as we can. And if there are any glaring omissions, we'll make sure to answer them during our post-event email that will go out tomorrow. Likewise, if you have any burning questions after this session, please feel free to reach out to us via the contact us form on our website. My colleague Elle from our Technology Enhanced Learning team is helping us with tech support and is also dropping helpful links through in the chat that will be useful to anybody who's considering applying. Within that, you will have links to our YouTube channel, which has recordings from our undergraduate open days earlier this year, where we go into much more depth about our portfolio of courses available. So if, for example, you know that you're interested in a creative writing course, but maybe not certain which one within that, our creative writing session should be able to help steer you in the correct direction. They go into much more detail about course content. There are also course overview videos from our academics that goes into even further detail about specific courses. Before I throw to Callie, just to recap some of our key deadlines that you should bear in mind, I'll also give a quick shout out to our other learning offerings available. There are our 7-week online courses that could be a shorter substitute to a longer course that you might be interested in. There's also our weekend residentials that take place here at Madingley Hall that are a much more focused and immersive stretch of learning. Those are all available to view on our website. So I do encourage you to do that. Right, so before we introduce our wonderful learners, I'll quickly throw over to Callie. Callie, can you just recap for people who are looking to start an application or maybe mid-application, what are the key deadlines they should be keeping in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Matt, and good afternoon, everybody. I'll be very quick because I think the main part of this session today is hearing from our fabulous students. So, just some deadlines that you need to be aware of. Application deadlines. If you are looking to apply for the advanced diploma courses, you'll need to get your application in relatively soon because the deadline for those courses is the 2nd of August. If you're looking at applying for our certificate or diploma level courses, the application deadline is the 2nd of September. If you have received an offer for your course, you have up until the 22nd of September to book and pay for your first instalment or your £50 deposit if you're funding your studies through a student loan. As we've mentioned in other courses, those are deadlines, they're not targets. So if you can get your application in earlier or if you can accept your offer earlier, please do, because once you do, you get access to the virtual learning environment space where you can access lots of resources to help get you study ready and will help you familiarise yourself with the virtual learning environment platform. So I think I will stop there because I think we're very keen to hear from our students. But if you have any questions about any of the deadline dates, please do just get in touch with us using the contact us form on the website.
Fantastic. Thank you, Callie. Two more quick points, just because it's worth restating them at every event this week. If English is not your first language, you will need to complete one of our accepted language proficiency requirements. So please prioritize that if you're joining from abroad. If you're not certain whether this would apply to you, please get in contact with our enrollment team via the link in the chat. And then lastly, because it's always worth restating, just in case we have any really keen being 16-year-olds, unfortunately, our minimum age requirement is 18. So you can apply while you're under 18, but you must be 18 by the time that your course starts in order to be eligible. So please bear that in mind. There is no maximum age. We do have learners who are joining us in their 80s or 90s. So don't let that dissuade you, but you do need to be 18. Okay, so I'm going to ask our learners to introduce themselves now. We've got three learners here today. We've got Jocelyn, Hannah, and Emma. They've all studied a variety of courses, so they should be able to cover a range of topics that you're interested in. I might ask you guys just to introduce yourself quickly, what course you're currently on, and how you found studying with us. So, Jocelyn, can I invite you to speak first?
Hi, Matt. Yes. My name is Jocelyn. I have so far done four certificate courses through PACE. And this fall, I am starting the diploma in the history and philosophy of science and technology, and I can hardly wait.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jocelyn. Jocelyn kindly helped us out previously with our undergraduate session it was the immunology session earlier this year, wasn't it? So yes, you've done a variety of courses with us. Yes. Can I hand over to Hannah now?
Hi, I'm Hannah. I have just finished the certificate in early medieval history with archaeology. I'm moving on to the next certificate in medieval history, and it's been an absolute pleasure so far.
Thank you very much, Hannah. And lastly, Emma.
Hi. I started with one of the short courses with PACE last year. So I think it was a 7 week course in coaching, executive coaching. Then I've just finished my undergraduate certificate in coaching. And to be honest, it gets very addictive. And I'm now moving on to my master's in September in coaching, which ties in with my career in education. So very excited to start that as well.
Amazing. Thank you very much, guys. So I'm going to start with some very, very broad questions, the kind of things that we receive from a lot of applicants. Obviously, all of our undergraduate qualifications are delivered entirely online. So, how have you guys found the experience of logging in and interacting with your academics, with your fellow learners? I might start by asking Jocelyn because you've got the added complication of having the time difference because you're based in the States. So I might ask Jocelyn to speak first, and then Hannah and Emma to give your opinions on the question. How have you found the experience of logging on and studying on these courses?
Well, logging in is very easy. They provide us the login for Zoom, not a problem. The biggest problem, of course, has been for me is that they often start at 10 o'clock British time, which is 5 o'clock uh, Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Standard Time. So the time difference is sometimes a problem, but that's okay. It's only, on Saturday or every other Saturday. So I just deal with it. I go to bed early, get up and ready to go. Make sure the coffee's ready.
Yeah. Thank you, Jocelyn. Hannah, how have you found the online sessions?
I have found them very, very helpful and very useful. I have experience of using Open University from 20 odd years ago where you had no support and no nothing. Whereas now you come in, you log in, you're immediately joining a Zoom conversation with people that you know. They are there to support you. Your tutors are always on hand. And actually, if you have any IT issues trying to log in, IT are superb. They're very, very helpful. And if you are really struggling, you can grab the phone and they will talk you through absolutely everything. You don't need to know anything at all about a computer, really, because IT will help you with everything.
Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, like we've said previously, our the age of our learners really, really varies. So we do have fresh school leavers who are very tech savvy, and then people all the way up to their 80s and 90s who maybe are less confident. But our technology enhanced learning team are always on hand to be able to help people through any element of the process that you need. Emma, how have you found it?
If I'm honest, to start with, I was very apprehensive about studying online because I was coming back to study about nearly 3 decades after finishing studying previously, and I was very pleasantly surprised at how much you feel part of a community. So from the minute that you have your induction day, you meet your fellow students, you meet your tutors. It very much feels like you are in it together and you're part of a community. And we were talking before the call about how that's not just on the sessions that you have, that are timetabled. We set up WhatsApp groups. We had weekly tutorials on the undergraduate course, which was brilliant. So you always had, as Hannah was saying, there's always someone there to help you, whether it's academically, whether it's with studying, whether it's with accessing the virtual learning environment. And the other thing that really excited me was you become a member of Cambridge University online. So instead of fighting for books in the library like 30 years ago, you have this wealth of information at your fingertips that you can, even look at things that might not be related to your course.
Always handy.
So I was very, very, blown away with how different it was from what I anticipated it to be.
Amazing. Thanks, Emma. Thank you all actually for the answers. And I think actually individually you kind of answered one of the questions that I had that I wanted to ask was just around touch points with your academics and your tutors. I think we get asked in the enrollment team quite a lot, how often can I reach out to my tutor? Are they accessible for me to get in touch with? And I think, Emma, from what you've just said in terms of your weekly tutorials, there's opportunities for you to engage with your tutor there. But I suppose outside of the kind of formal setup, so your live lectures, the weekly tutorials, how easy is it for you to, in your experience, to reach out to your tutor if you have a question that you maybe don't want to bring up in a group setting?
If I can jump in first.
Yes, absolutely.
My tutors have the one thing they say every single session that we have is if you've got any questions, email us. We'll get back to you as quickly as we can. If it's something urgent, drop it in a message in the online chat. And as I said before, they're very, very good. They're there. They're helpful. They want the key driver, I think, for every tutor I've come across, and I think Emma and Jocelyn will say the same, your tutors are there to help you. They don't want to bring you down. They want to raise you up. They want to help you, and they will give you as much help as they possibly can. If there's an area of study that you're struggling with, LiDAR is not my friend. I am not very proficient with it, but you can, and your tutors will help you understand it, to take you through it. If there's something that you're not proficient in, they will, and you can ask for extra time with them to help you with anything that you need. So,
Amazing.
yeah, I've found them very, very accessible at every level.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Thank you, Hannah.
Could I just mention the academic tutor on my course, Winnie, who was in charge of it all. She went above and beyond to help me when I was trying to decide whether or not to carry on with studying.
Yeah.
So, she put her own time into meeting me, talking it through, helping me with applications, which, I really appreciated because I don't know whether I would have had the confidence to move forward without her support. So, yeah, I would, agree with everything Hannah says that, you feel very supported.
That's amazing. It's great to hear that the support that you're receiving goes beyond kind of the classroom and what you're learning in that moment in terms of and I think that ties in with what Hannah said as well in terms of they want to bring you up. Our tutors want to elevate you, and whether that is continuing to study with us or going on to another institute or going on to an MST as you were doing, Emma. I think our tutors are so open to having those discussions with you, and it doesn't stop when the lecture ends. So I think that's really reassuring to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We've had a live question through that kind of aligns with one of our pre-sourced questions. So from Julian saying, how realistic have you found the general guidance of 10 hours study per credit, i.e. 600 hours for a 60 credit course? Now, I know that it varies from course to course, but we do kind of advise about 10 to 15 study hours a week. On one of your undergraduate courses. This can tie into a broader question about how have you found balancing your study requirements with your work and your life commitments. Emma, I might start with you.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you want to get out of the course. So if you want to, go through the motions and do the bare minimum, then that's very realistic. But I think because you are given so many opportunities to explore areas that you might personally find interesting, and you've got the reading list, and like I mentioned previously, you've got the access to the library. I found I put in through choice many more hours because I was finding it so rewarding coming back to study and having all of those resources at my fingertips. So um, it really does depend on what you want to do the course for, what you want to get out of the course. Does that answer the question? Is that helpful?
Yeah. Thank you. Jocelyn, I wonder if you've got a read on this. How have you found balancing your study commitments around your kind of work and life commitments, and how much time do you think it takes you per week?
Well, I would say 600 is probably an average. I probably spent a bit more because, particularly on the courses that I was really on fire for. Um, but I would also like to give a shout out to the library and to Cambridge in general, who have put a tremendous amount of money into um, online resources. Almost not every book that you need, is going to be available in the uh, online resource, but anything that you really have got to have is going to be there, uh, online access. I have been sometimes disappointed. That book's at Sydney, Sussex, and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a problem. But you can find it somewhere. But the amount of money that Cambridge has put into online education is fantastic.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I will take a quick sidebar because it's relevant about access to literary resources. Firstly, I'll say about the access to the university library and the various online written resources that Cambridge has access to. That persists after you finish studying with us. So that remains a perk once you become a Cambridge alumni, once you've completed your course. And also, I'm remembering this from our philosophy undergraduate open day. There is also a very strong resource available for digitizing any copies of books that are only available physically. There is a really good process for being able to digitize those books and share them online as well. So I forget the exact details, but even in those cases, where, like Jocelyn says, where there might be a physical copy at a college, it is very possible to get them digitized and shared with you. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was the alumni benefits that we receive, where these access to these literary resources, they're available to you during your course and after, for as long as you're a Cambridge University alumni. Hannah, just so that you get your piece as well, how have you found balancing the weekly study with your other commitments?
It's probably worth noting here that I am a disabled student. I have two brain tumors and quite limited screen time. So my perspective on the study time is probably quite different to an average student. What I will big up here is the library service. I need to have everything printed out on paper. It's much easier for me to read on paper than a screen. So the library resources will help you if that's an option for you. You can get anything printed and get it. I quite often get very technical text sent up to me, and so that's super helpful. With regard to time for the course, that's an interesting question because for me that's a week to week depending on what we're looking at and what we're doing. I'm not saying that there are light weeks, there aren't. But as I think Emma and Jocelyn have alluded to, if there is a rabbit hole and you go down it, you can end up spending an extra 20 hours reading something that's of absolutely no use to the course, but just purely for your own interest. So you kind of need to be aware of those perils, I think.
Yeah.
Can I just jump back in there? One of the things I found very useful was at the start of every unit on the undergraduate course, it was very clearly laid out what your assessment question was, when the deadline was, so you could manage your time because you knew what was coming up, when it was coming up. And one of my tutors gave me some invaluable advice. Don't look at an essay as 3,500 words, break it down into four sections, a few hundred words every couple of weeks, and it suddenly becomes manageable rather than overwhelming.
Mate, that's really good advice, Emma. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, can I jump in again?
Yes, of course.
So jumping on the back of what Emma's just said, yes, what we found is that you start looking at your assignment questions from about week two or three, and everything within that particular term will be referenced to your assignments as well. And your tutors will take the Saturday session. I don't know how Emma and Jocelyn's weeks broke down, we were a Wednesday evening with the alternate Saturdays, and our alternate Saturdays were focused primarily on our assignment questions. So if we had any open questions for the group, or if we wanted to specifically ask our tutor something, that was all available to us all the way through the term. So when we got to the actually sitting down to write, we've had a whole term of this is what you're going to be writing about. And that makes it easier because it's always in the back of your mind that actually, oh, I'll take a note of that because I might want that when I write my assignment. And that I found was very, very helpful.
Amazing. Thank you, Hannah. I think it's really good for people to hear kind of lived experiences and understand how everybody manages, because it can be a little bit daunting, especially if you're returning to study for the first time after a long time, or you're totally new to higher education. I think it helps to put away any of those kind of fears or apprehensions. Hannah, I know you mentioned that you receive texts, like physical text to
Yeah.
help. And I just wondered how you came about finding out that that was available to you. I wondered if you could share that with us.
I think I can't remember now. When you fill out your paperwork, and I'm sure Matt and yourself will correct me here, I'm sure there is a section that asks if you have a disability or you need additional assistance.
Yeah.
At which point you're then asked if you would like your information handed across to the student disability team. And the student disability team will get in touch with you and ask you what assistance that you need and then point you in the right direction. I have to say, student disability and student services have been brilliant, and they will continue to be brilliant as long as I'm here. Because they will give you the right direction to the right people. They'll even set up meetings with the right people if that's helpful for you as well. So I had quite a lengthy discussion with the team at the library, who told me what they can and can't help me with.
Great.
So there is nothing that's insurmountable for a disabled student. If Cambridge can, they will. It's not you don't need to fight for any of this. And I think for somebody who has struggled now for 10 plus years, you don't have to fight, you just have to ask. And
Right.
it's a very, very nice position to be in. So if there are people out there who are thinking, oh, I don't know, is this for me? Isn't it for me? There is as much help as you need and as much help as you want. And it's all there for you. So as I say, I just contact the library team and say, can I have this? Can you ship it up? And they will print it off and ship it up to me. And that's fantastic.
Amazing.
But yes, I'll let Josiah take Emma can answer that one because I'm just looking at the questions here. And that's definitely not one I can answer.
Yes, I'll use that to segue to our next question. So we've had a live question come through from Josiah. This ties in with a question that we were going to ask about kind of pathways and also what's brought people to study with us in the first place. Obviously, the different types of learners that we get really vary. We have people who are at the start of their career and looking to develop their understanding of a field. We have people who are kind of mid-career and looking to make a change, and then we also have people who are just joining us just for recreational learning. So I think if we start with Emma, because as Emma mentioned, you've gone from the short course to certificate, and you're now going to be going through to masters. I'd love to hear from you all, sort of what your goals were whenever you joined us, and how your course progression is helping you towards those goals. So yeah, Emma, I might start with you in the context of coaching.
So I started with the short course whilst I was still actively teaching. And I thought, I would just dip my toe in and see if it was something that I might like to do when I moved away from teaching. And that led me on to the next course because then it's a bit of a long story, but my husband and I have set up a business consultancy and strategic advice. And it suddenly became clear that coaching would fit nicely into that. Um, so I thought I'll go down the executive coaching route, but my heart is in education. So the reason I'm moving on to the master's is because I realised that I can do some research in the master's course. And I feel passionately about how coaching can help young people in education in schools. And so I can, try and create some evidence-based research into why this might be something schools might look into. So it sort of, it grew as I went along. So from the just an interest to suddenly, maybe I can actually make a difference, write a paper, do some research. So yeah, that's how it grew.
That's amazing. Thank you, Emma. Jocelyn, in your case, you've studied a few certificates with us. You've just finished your application for a diploma. You've also done an advanced diploma in research theory and practice. What brought you to studying with us, and what are your kind of goals from your study with us? What leads you through that pathway?
Okay, well, first let me correct you. I have not done the advanced diploma. That is what I intend to do. Yeah.
Oh, my
Well, no,
apologies.
that's okay. No, have been teaching for a long time, teaching anatomy and physiology, and I realized in studying science that what I was really interested in was the background story of science and how people got to where they were. Um, and so then I started looking at the programs in history and philosophy of science and medicine. I thought, oh, Cambridge, let me try this. And so I, tried some Cambridge courses and, and getting used to the idea of how school is different here. And we write a very great deal. And I've found it very challenging, but also very rewarding. And so hopefully I will soon be on my way to Master of Studies in history and philosophy of science and medicine. So we shall see, won't we?
We'll
Amazing.
have to
Thank you.
check back in a couple of years with you, Jocelyn, and see
Yeah.
where you're at.
Yeah.
And then Hannah, before the call, you said you'll be coming back as long as we'll have you, or something to that effect. Like what brought you to studying early medieval England, and kind of where do you hope that it will take you?
I have always had an interest in history. The irony being, I was actually on my way to classics, and then I found the history course, and that was me. So I'm afraid classics might have to wait until I've progressed as far as I can with history. But it's I'm here because I don't work. I needed something to do, and I know this sounds quite a casual. Yeah, I just needed something to do. Bored. No, I wanted something where I could manage my own time with something I was interested in. And the courses that I've done have answered that. I find I push myself a little bit harder than I perhaps should, but I think we all do. Because if you are not 100% committed to what the area that you want to study, it'll be very difficult. I know there are dropout rates, which Matt's probably going, please don't talk about that.
No,
But
we're being totally honest here, but yeah, feel free.
but I have to say for my course, I think 32 started and 30 finished.
Oh.
So it was a very high percentage of people that actually stayed all the way to the end. And as we've all said before, it's a good mixture of people that you're learning with. They're a nice group, and you get everything from. I was schooled by a gentleman who's got grandchildren older than I am. So I took a step back and went, yeah, okay, I'm going to listen to what you've got to say here because you clearly know more than me. But it makes for a nice learning environment. There is no hostility. There is nothing that says um, there's nothing negative from anybody. Everybody's there with the same goal. Everybody helps everybody get to the same goal. And I think if you're in a work environment, one of the guys on my course, he works from home, and he said he likes to he's enjoyed the course purely because of the companionship that's gone along with it and the friendships that have developed from it. So I think you're not just coming to get a certificate or a diploma at the end of it. You're getting a whole bunch of friends, and you're getting a whole resource to work from as well. So yeah, I think once I've completed the history route, I'm not sure where I'll go next, but there still is classics.
Amazing.
I'm going to quickly interrupt with another one of our live questions before I hand over to Callie again. We've had a live question saying, "I've studied English for many years, but I don't guarantee passing the IELTS." So this is one of the English language bodies, and they're very anxious about this. You're not alone. A lot of our students have similar difficulties. I would just encourage you to get in touch via our contact us page if you want any more advice about or any more reassurance about how we can help you with the English language requirements. So yeah, don't despair.
Matt, I wonder as well if we were meant to have another student joining us, but they couldn't, and they shared a quote because they went through the English language
Of course,
test
yes, you're
process.
absolutely right.
And they had a quote to share about that, and I didn't know whether you wanted to share that.
Certainly, certainly. So this is from Alyssa. Yeah, she wasn't able to join us today because of work commitments. But she said that meeting the English language requirements was quite straightforward. There are several online resources to prepare you for the test, and once you obtain the certificate, it can come to use beyond the university environment. It's something I would recommend doing regardless. So yes, unfortunately, Alyssa hasn't been able to join us today, but hopefully that speaks to the idea that the process can be very, very simple, and we're very happy to help you through the process.
Absolutely. And Matt, I'm just conscious that we are 3 minutes over time, but I just wondered whether we could finish with one last question to all three of you, if that's okay. I think it'd be really useful to hear this. But beyond the qualification itself and gaining a certificate or a diploma or an MST, Emma, in a couple of years, what has been the most valuable part of your experience of studying with us here at Pace? If we start with Jocelyn first?
Okay. Well, like others have said, is the people that you meet is such a supportive environment, and you make a lot of new friends, and really expand your ideas of what is possible. What is possible? What can you do? And it is rather addictive, and so once you're in, you're in. So plan carefully.
Thank you, Jocelyn. And Hannah?
I think for me, it's a case of not can I, but actually I can.
Yeah.
And that's my takeaway from all of this is that I can do this. You can do this too. There's all the support you need. Jump in and you'll be amazed where you end up.
Amazing. Thank you, Hannah. And Emma?
I definitely agree with everything that's been said. I mean, the people, the tutors, and your peers. That's been an amazing part of the course. But also, I think coming from a teaching background, the fact that Cambridge wants to turn you into a learner, it's not a transactional process. It's not like, here is the information, you learn it and then regurgitate it. They're interested in developing you as a learner. And I think that was a real confidence boost, when you can see what you can do, going back to what Hannah said, the potential that you've got.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you to all three of you for taking the time out to come and speak to us today. Apologies, this has run slightly over, but I think it is so worth listening to your experiences because they're all so unique and it's really going to be valuable for prospective students. Hopefully they'll learn and understand what it's like to actually study here at Pace. Obviously, Matt and I have spoken a lot over the week, so I think it's nice to hear an unbiased opinion of people that have actually done it and gone through the experience. So thank you so much for taking the time out. Matt, shall I hand over to you to wrap up?
Yeah, certainly. Again, I will thank you all for attending. Thank you, Elle from the TEL team, for dropping links in the chat. Next steps, all the important links have been in the chat. I really encourage you guys, if you have any further queries, to get in touch with Callie and the enrollment team via the contact us form on our website. We talked through deadlines. So what is it? 2nd of August for advanced diploma, 2nd of September for certificate and diploma. So there's a bit of time for the certificate diplomas. Advanced diplomas, you need to get on it quite quickly. But yeah, get in touch with us via our website if you're interested in short courses or weekend courses or our international summer program. That's all available on our website as well. I want to thank you all again for joining us, and we hope to see you studying with us sometime soon. Have a good day, everyone.